Josh will read the language. If he felt comfortable, you know, we should be fine.
This is yours?
Layla, is that yours? Your drink?
Yeni evimizin kameracı köşesine.
Yeah, let you try it first, yeah.
Are we waiting for your kids?
I'm taking your drink, don't worry. Goodness gracious, you started gripping it. Don't take something from Layla. I laugh at Layla's name. She doesn't find it funny.
In real life. She's being Layla.
I'm gonna keep you over here, Layla.
Thank you.
Right here.
Oh. That is quite odd. Yeah, it's about 10 minutes.
All right, I'm gonna be the right one to ask the kids. How's it gonna go?
So I said, you should get over
Yeah, I've been here 2 times in this meeting, so there were 10 weeks there. I messaged all of them, like, hey, they're pretty good, and I sent the flyer. Yeah, it's kind of it's like hit a little bit.
I did that. Yes, it's the heat.
Yeah, well, that was 3 years before I was
She said she's coming?
She said because her brother coming.
Oh.
So she said 10 minutes. 10 minutes? She said that's 20 minutes.
Okay. So we're on a different kind of time.
Yes.
I had one, my older son, I was like, I am 10 minutes away. It was never 10 minutes. It was just like unacceptable. Even if it's a lie.
coming on time.
Yeah,
Yeah. To me, what was the name of the sister who was here yesterday?
It's not the same. She is from Seattle. Mm-hmm. And Lilina. Based in Lilina.
Is it the same? Where?
She's not talking about the same person.
Oh, no.
I'm not talking.
You guys are advertising.
I mean, it's nice. I mean, I'll do it with my camera, but if you guys are able to film, it's filming. Oh, okay. Oh, it's
They're not there right now.
Oh, you guys are very kind. Thank you, thank you. There's a seat in the front, and then get out of the way.
What you gonna do if car comes?
Thank you.
He's on his way since 2 hours ago.
He's on a call. I'll check and see.
And then Charlotte has
Appreciate it.
You know, it looked like car.
I saw
Come
you
on,
yesterday. I saw you guys yesterday.
Yeah, they were together.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Dr. Carr. I was passing.
that is it.
Oh, I gotta get this to get a shot of you guys.
Okay.
Especially because they closed the drapes.
I go to Howard. I'm a senior second Ellie. I got 2 names.
Cars, man.
Wow, that's amazing.
Do we want to wait for a few more people or you want us to get started? Work there?
We do have money.
We have one more coming.
One more coming out of the bathroom? Okay, we can definitely wait for that.
Yeah.
It's we have a few en route that have said 10 minutes for a while, that they're still 10 minutes out. Maybe that's sucked into a black hole or something.
In Maryland. Maryland.
Silver Spring.
They have a game coming, so.
I took
Close
those
to
You never know.
intro to African studies. It was online. I didn't remember too much about it, but
So when you guys first met?
yeah, in person.
So you like what you saw here?
Next
Yeah.
time, I'm
You
gonna.
will come back?
You are coming.
Sure.
She was
Are
waiting
you
for you
sure?
to me. I know.
What did Carl tell you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are a lot closer, there's no excuses.
He said the first time 2 years ago, he said, you know, we have to keep in church and so on, and then everybody disappeared. With money, we kept.
You have to almost create
I think Carl
like it's a force.
just for the undergraduates.
You know, there's someone in the bathroom, waiting for that person.
Yeah.
So that's.
Understand his popularity. That might have rubbed you wrong.
Just like.
Yeah, that's okay. It's very popular.
So,
Yes. Yes.
like I'm trying to explain this.
Our goal really is to create awareness, so just people that need our books know about them, so that's a big goal. And then
The chair
we want to
towards the camera.
what we're doing.
Yeah, just her, so that I can see her right here. Right?
Basically, support and awareness are the two things, but trying to do it so people don't feel like if I'm asking someone to give this, unless you want to give me books, right? Because your heart says this is my project. So it's a very interesting, different kind of ask. I don't want people to feel like I have to do something because if it doesn't sound like there's plenty of other things people do in the world, so it's more that you understand. Come on. Like I was just on a Facebook group where they're trying to teach their kids to read.
Yeah.
So you want the part why?
Yes, they put online where they, yes, they, like, to me, the sales globally support the project and the goal is, that's where the for-profit is, like that, it's not for-profit. But the place that we use it, essentially, we want to sustain our project, give our books as gifts.
He's too kind.
Art classes to singing classes, normal classes, so they serve in the need,
Yeah.
but in serving the need, they also sustain the project, so it does go together.
They were very
Especially like that was very special.
You know, after that time and stuff, he had another voice when he was
Yeah, he was able to
But
say
that's-
that was it.
Yeah.
How far are you? I was gonna tell you to come to San
That's excellent.
and then
Yeah, it's just like, it's Saturday, it's busy, depends on how.
Yeah. You forgive him.
It's like everybody's busy.
It's like 2 miles from.
This place here.
They say 10 minutes.
Everybody's
You know, yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah, and then I think it's not very far, 15 miles, but the 2 miles. 11, maybe 15. Two miles. One way, 9 miles.
We can have that traffic.
The downtown is so congested.
Yeah, and yeah, it was, we're still waiting for someone from the bathroom, otherwise we can get. There's only one bathroom, so it can't take a little
You
while.
can order a smoothie now.
Oh, okay, perfect.
T-minus 5 minutes.
All good.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
We're here, we're not going anywhere, so.
5 minutes, we're over.
So this is our project, so you can see, yeah, because part of it is a complex, and I think Betty is so used to traditional nonprofit. I don't want people to feel like we're asking for something. I want them to say, does this project speak to you? Then join us. If it doesn't, just push us one. Right? Because there's something kind of not organic about asking people to do something until you're ready to get. So to me, like, when you became our board member, what we did is, how can I get involved, right? And Betty has actually joined us, but she's been doing other things with us, and she's our Spanish translator. And so she found that it fits and converts, so like, she keeps pushing me on this, but I don't. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, like, the world needs people to do all kinds of things, and I don't want people to do anything they feel uncomfortable. So she pushes me and I push back. You can't make me ask for things. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit about what we do, because we're like kind of a crazy different organization that's trying to create missing books in Ethiopian languages, as well as, I'm gonna get one more, as well as the stories of the continent that everyone in the world should know about. I hate that they folded it the wrong way, so yes, my kids are like, your OCD is showing my. I will do the same. And you'll find our website on the back. It's a family EOT organization, so if you want to reach us, if you're interested in hearing more, I think we'll get started in about 3 minutes. Everyone come back with their smoothie and their give you a little reading material. And if you have questions or just want to chat, let us know. Thank you for coming in from the outside. I was like, I appreciate it. Yep, you absolutely may. Just so people know, like, why me? That my daughter's Ethiopian. That's my daughter over there. And when she was very young, she does not remember this. So I get to always get this look I'm going to get in about 2 seconds. When she was very young, she learned that kids in Ethiopia don't get a lot of children's books. We don't get to read. The opportunities for women and girls is always worse everywhere in the world. But if you already have an under-resourced place, so she said, that's not fair, Mama. You need to fix it. So that started us on a journey, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's how we ended up here, as now the largest publisher of African language children's books featuring African stories, which, as I've mentioned, is both something to be very proud of and something that's a bit sad, because that means there's not a lot of people doing it. Like, we actually have the most selection of Amharic books in the world, Tigrinya books in the world, Afan Oromo. We have languages that have never had children's books before, like Anuak, Deetsen. We're actually, how many of you are Ethiopian or identify as Ethiopian? Okay, I'm going to ask you, do you know the language Basketo?
Thank you.
It's one of the only other languages I found out that uses Giz. Tigrinya and Amharic, but also Basketo. But Basketo added some of their own symbols just to make it even more complicated. There's only about 80,000 speakers in the world. So that's my gift to anyone who's from Ethiopia. I probably know something you don't. You know a lot of things I don't. That's a given, but I probably know a few things that you don't. All right, I think we're going to get started. So I will do intros, but then I'm going to leave it to these beautiful ladies here to actually do the book reading for us. So my name is Eleanor Angelides. If you think first she doesn't look very Greek, I've heard that before. My parents immigrated from the Netherlands and my dad via Indonesia and Australia. So we have a very diverse family. Her dad is Greek. He came over here actually to get his master's degree. So he's a mathematician. So we have a very interesting, creative math family. Layla's my third child. I have two older sons, and she started us on this journey when she was very small, and it started by building libraries because that seemed logical, right? If there's a literacy problem, you build libraries, you get books to kids. So there's a library in her birth town of Bahadar that we're very proud to say is still rocking and rolling. For those from Ethiopia, it's open on the weekends with a librarian and it's in a public school. So very rare thing to happen, and it's inspired other libraries. We also built a library in Gondar, and now we're starting reading rooms. But we kind of came to a realization that we didn't really understand the problem. Right? The problem was first language books. All the reading research shows that you need to learn in your mother tongue. And that is the language that's spoken at home, not the language that governments say is official. It's what is spoken in your home, in your community. And that there's no organization that's creating children's books in native tongue in the number that are needed. So after coming to this realization, I had worked at Amazon for a long time and got paid a lot of money to solve really hard problems in a corporate world. And I realized in not-for-profits, they often are asked to solve problems, but sort of failure is considered, I wouldn't say okay, but like, you know that it's likely that you might not make success. But I thought in a corporate world, I had no choice. I either succeeded or you can guess what the option was. So I thought, why don't we apply this to a really hard problem? We took on this goal in 2016, 17. We're going to create the missing books. I don't even know how to do it. My last job at Amazon was Kindle Direct Publishing. But we said there's a community of people that need these books, a community of people that can help us. We're going to create 200 unique books in the top 3 Ethiopian languages. For our Ethiopians, what are the most spoken languages in Ethiopia? And I was actually wrong about this. So Amharic, anybody guess number 2? Tigrinya is considered number 2, but it actually is probably number 4 or 5 on spoken. Somali actually is ahead of Tigrinya, but it was obviously, so we had Tigrinya, Amharic, and Afar. What we learned was Somali is actually in there as probably one of the top 3. We have Somali now. But just start creating these books. They need to be beautiful books. They need to be the same quality as the rest of the world. And then we need to get them all over Ethiopia. And I won't tell you the whole story because there's lots that's still in progress. But you can see some of our books here. We were so delighted when Sankofa we found them here. We didn't even reach out. I think this is such an incredible place. And where we are now, so that fast forward, because Amazon, like if you're in the tech world, you have to go big and you have to go fast. And so we're big, fast, quality. We've created 172 books, all quality, in 22 languages, 12 Ethiopian, and we're actually in now 10 global languages too, because these stories are beautiful. So if you're an Arabic speaker, a Portuguese speaker, or a Spanish speaker, we actually have one of our volunteers here, Bete, translates for us in Spanish, because why shouldn't kids who are learning Spanish also learn about Ethiopia? Why would that not work? Although it didn't seem like the most logical to begin with. And we have 1,400 different books in the language and title combinations that are going all over the world, serving refugee communities, immigrant communities, and just communities that need to know the stories of the continent of Africa, just like they need to know the stories of the continent we live on here. So that's a whole lot of, but nothing is a better ambassador than a children's book. So we find we can talk to people all day long. They nod, they say this is great until they see the books, and then they say this is wonderful. So we're going to start by reading you a book called Beautiful Dreams. It's part of our fine arts collection because everything is donated. We don't have big funds. We don't have any big funders. We are basically relying on really creative, big-hearted people to help us. So this one features the art of an artist named Nahosanai Nagusi, who lives in Addis. He's a friend of ours, and he has incredible art, really imaginative. And we said, this should be a children's book. And he said, no. No one should interpret my art. I said, but your art is so beautiful, please. And he said, well, you can try. I don't think this will be successful, but you can try. So this is our attempt, and I will be a little spoiler alert, we brought the book back to him and others when we traveled in February. And he looked at it and we were waiting, and he said, it's perfect. I couldn't imagine how it would work, but it's perfect. So, without further ado, I give you Beautiful Dreams. Leila Marie Fasika Angelides will read the English version, and Yenej, one of our board members, is going to read the Amharic version. And if we have, I don't know if we have it in any other versions, but we're hoping to bring to Sankofa some of our other native language speakers that could read in Afan Oromo and Tigrinya and Somali and Yuak, because they're all really beautiful languages, and it's wonderful that you get to explore and learn about many of them. And our goal, although this is a stretch goal, I can't put any time frame on, we would love to have books in every language that's spoken in Ethiopia and even in the continent of Africa, but we're making progress. We still have a ways to go there. So without further ado, Leila, you want to kick us off?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, hello. This is Beautiful Dreams. This is one of the books that my mom and I wrote together, and it's coincidentally one of my favorites. It has nothing to do with what I just said. Okay. I love to listen to my mother play music.
እናቴ
ሙዚቃ ስትጫወት ማዳመጥ እወዳለሁ።
Music makes me think about times of joy and celebration.
ሙዚቃ የደስታና የበዓላት ጊዜዎችን እንዳስብ ያደርገኛል።
Maybe soon I'll be old enough to stay up late and join the dance.
አንድ ቀን ትልቅ ስሆን እስከ ምሽት ቆይቼ አብሬ መጨፈር እችላለሁ።
One day I said, Mama, what will my life be like when I'm all grown up?
አንድ ቀን እናቴ እማዬ ወደፊት ሳድግ ህይወቴ ምን ሊመስል ይችላል አልኳት።
I don't know for sure, Mama said, but the world gives you many paths to explore.
እርግጠኛ መሆን አልችልም፣ ነገር ግን የፈለግሽውን ለመሆን በጣም ሰፊ ምርጫ አለሽ።
Well, I know our family once had many horses.
ቤተሰቦቼ በአንድ ወቅት ብዙ ፈረሶች እንደነበራቸው አውቃለሁ።
My grandfather says our family loved their horses and called each one by name.
አያቴ ቤተሰቦቻችን ፈረሶቻቸውን ይወዷቸው እንደነበረና እያንዳንዳቸውን በየስማቸው ይጠሯቸው እንደነበረ ነግሮኛል።
Someday, maybe I will have an amazing horse.
አንድ ቀን ምናልባት የሚገርም ፈረስ ይኖረኛል።
I dream of riding my horse throughout the city.
ፈረሴን በከተማ ውስጥ ስጋልብ ታየኝ።
I will teach her to dance.
ዳንስ አስተምራታለሁ።
I want my life to be full of two things I love, music and horses. Do you think that that's possible? I asked my mother.
ህይወቴ በምወዳቸው ሁለት ነገሮች የተሞላ እንዲሆን እፈልጋለሁ፣ በሙዚቃና ፈረሶች። የሚቻል ይመስልሻል ብዬ እናቴ ጠየኳት።
Anything is possible, Mama said. You can do big things in this amazing world.
እማዬ ሁሉም ነገር ይቻላል፣ በዚህ በሚያስደንቅ ዓለም ውስጥ ብዙ ድንቅ ነገሮችን መስራት ትችያለሽ አለችኝ።
Thank you. And if you ever get the chance to see Nahosanai's painting, he actually puts textiles, like he paints it and then he adds details and then he actually puts
textural. So we had the last painting in there is at our house, and it has elements of the Ethiopian weaving as part of it. So next book we're gonna read is. She told me there's payback coming. I'm not sure for what, but every mother knows what that means when a teenager tells them there's payback. I'll probably get payback for that too. So this one is The Language of Dance, and this one is actually a newer book for us. We created it earlier in this year as part of the Lake Oswego in Oregon Art Festival. And dance is one of those universal languages. Have any of you ever heard of Malaku Ballet? He's a well-known Ethiopian dancer. He has a TED Talk about Ethiopian dance that has 1 million views. If you don't know of him, you should find him. This is actually based on a photo of his. So he grew up in Addis Ababa, never learned to read, has learned phonetically how to sound out words in English and others. So Jane Kurtz, one of our collaborators and team members, who's an award-winning children's book author and grew up in Ethiopia, she took all Malaku Balay's words that he's done in speeches and others and created a book featuring his thoughts. So he's the author with Jane of this book, The Language of Dance. And what I love about it is it sort of represents everything about our project, because as you look through the book, there was Pacific Northwest artists who all donated their art. Most of them had no connection to Ethiopia before, but they loved the project and they were willing to say, I'm gonna create a piece of art, either based on a photo or an inspiration, and make it part of the book. And we had 4 Ethiopian artists who said, we too want to participate. That got a little more complicated with DHL and getting things over, but so Hosnai is in here. This cover is by Iyayu Gannett, who's one of the only fine artists in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, who's based in Bahadar. And he does a lot of artwork that features Bahadar. And then we have another artist from Bishoftu that created a piece around wheelchair dance, because everyone should dance. And then we had Tekla Mariam Zwedu, who is a very well-known Ethiopian artist who created a piece specifically for this book featuring the hammer dance. And if you haven't seen hammer people dance, this is from the southern part of Ethiopia. It's really, really incredible. So with that, I will give you Malaku's words on the language of dance and the art from both Ethiopia and the Pacific Northwest.
All right. The language of dance. Come, children, come. Are the sounds of the drums ringing in your ears? Is your body full of ticklish joy?
ኑ ልጆች ኑ፣ የከበሮው ድምፅ ጆሮአችሁ ላይ ያቃጭላል። ሰውነታችሁስ በደስታ ንዝረት ተሞልቷል።
Dance is power.
ዳንስ ኃይል ነው።
Dance belongs to everyone, everywhere.
ዳንስ በሁሉም ቦታ የሚገኝ የሁሉም ማህበረሰብ መገለጫ ነው።
They use their bodies to say, we are full of life and we are one.
በሁሉም የኢትዮጵያ ክፍሎች ይኖሩ የነበሩ ጥንታዊ ሰዎች በሙዚቃና በዳንስ ታሪኮቻቸውን ይናገሩ ነበር።
Dancing connects us to nature and to each other.
ዳንስ ከተፈጥሮ ጋር እንዲሁም እርስ በእርሳችን እንድንጣመር ይረዳናል።
Today, people all over Ethiopia still tell their stories through music and dance.
ዛሬም ሙዚቃና ዳንስን በመጠቀም በመላው ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የሚገኙ ሰዎች ታሪክን ይናገራሉ።
They share their joy and pain through movement.
ደስታና ሀዘናቸውንም በእንቅስቃሴ ይገልጻሉ።
Dance is our language. It is how we celebrate together.
ዳንስ ቋንቋችን ነው። አንድ ላይ የምንደሰትበት መንገድ ነው።
When we travel around Ethiopia, we can see that dance is a language that everybody speaks.
ኢትዮጵያን በምንጎበኝበት ወቅትም ዳንስ ሁሉም ቦታ የሚነገር ቋንቋ እንደሆነ ማየት እንችላለን።
Dance can speak the language of peace.
ዳንስ የሰላም ቋንቋ መናገር ይችላል።
Dance can build a bridge from one heart to another.
ዳንስ ከአንድ ልብ ወደ ሌላ መሸጋገሪያ ድልድይ ነው።
Dancing reminds us that we are all human beings together on this planet.
ዳንስ ሁላችንም በዚች ምድር ላይ የምንኖር የሰው ልጆች እንደሆነን ያስታውሰናል።
In the countries around the world, people tell their stories through music and dance. When we visit, we show who we are. We learn who they are.
በዓለም ላይ የሚገኙ ሀገራትን በዳንስና በሙዚቃ ታሪኮቻቸውን ይናገራሉ። ሌሎች ሀገራትን በምንጎበኝበት ወቅት ማንነታችንን እናሳያለን። ስለነሱም እንማራለን።
Come, all humans are different, but all humans are also the same.
ኑ ሁሉም የሰው ልጅ ልዩ ነው፣ ግን ሁሉም የሰው ልጅ አንድ ነው።
Dream of a time when art will tear down walls between us and when dancing will help us meet heart to heart.
ይህ ጊዜ ይመጣል። ጥበብ በመሃላችን ያሉትን ግድግዳዎች የሚያፈርስበት እንዲሁም በዳንስ ልብ ከልብ የምንገናኝበት።
Move, listen, don't be afraid, dance.
ተወዛወዙ፣ አዳምጡ፣ አትፍሩ፣ ደንሱ።
Okay, that's it.
Well, we appreciate you all coming and listening. We have some of these books available here at Sankofa, and they actually carry more of our books. So if you're learning Amharic, or you're learning Tigrinya, or you're learning Afar and Oromo, or Spanish, maybe, I don't know if the Spanish books are here yet. There's a couple other things that I'd love to share about the books, and we feel like every time you have a book, it's almost like, a birth, right? It's somebody's dream, it's somebody's vision, it all comes together. We have writers, we have translators, we have editors. The Amharic, for those of you who speak Amharic, it is painstakingly translated and edited by a cardiologist in Minnesota, a sociology professor in Eastern Washington, as well as different translators. And we had a time where we couldn't release a book because the cardiologist couldn't find the right word. I can't find the right Amharic word. So there's so much love that goes into a book like this. We want to acknowledge all of it. And this one in particular, it's where does the story come from? Because the story has a birth, right? Like, where did the story come from? So each book tells you where did the story come from. Sometimes it's an African proverb. Sometimes it's Layla and I have written about our experiences in Ethiopia, but changed it to be Ethiopian. So we would tell you that, or we have Andromeda. Everyone should remember Andromeda was an Ethiopian princess. She was not Greek. She was not Greek and she was not white. She was an Ethiopian princess. So that's a story, like, where did that come from? She's also a constellation, which is, you get to be a princess and a scientist. And then this will also tell you sort of, like, this was the sponsors, but then each of the illustrators. And for us, it was really wonderful to share, who can create these beautiful stories, where do they come from? And then we always acknowledge the translator, because if you know anything about translation, The translator is the author of the book in that language because their word choice really matters. It's not a straight up translation. We don't ask our translators to do that. We say, make this story work in the language that you're translating. And then this one, you will see the one in the wheelchair. We try and feature kids of all abilities. That's about our organization. And we print in Ethiopia. We have some samples here. The quality in Ethiopia is equally, if not better, than the quality in the rest of the world. So we think it's really important to create capacity, and those are all our locally printed books. And our translator here, this translator is a wonderful advocate who lives in Addis Ababa and does a lot of work with us and also at the National Library at Havre. So each of the books will have that back version, and it serves an additional purpose in Ethiopia. We translate the back part of the book for the Ethiopian versions to create more reading material, because if reading is scarce, then you have an early reader book in the back and some more complex reading in the front and the complex reading in the back. Any questions? Anybody want to read another book? We also have Yenny's kids are here. You guys want to read a book?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, read with your mom. You can, you know what? So I love co-authoring, so you already figured out I co-author with my daughter. Joshua and I wrote this one together. Layla, you forgot your phone. I know you'll be missing that in 15 seconds. So this is actually kind of how Yenny and I met originally. Like, online is a lot of bad things, but a lot of good things. So I wouldn't meet some of the people I got to meet if there wasn't that ability. So Layla and I had done a book about mothers and daughters. And Yenny said we need to do mothers and sons. So that's still in the works, but she said my son loves basketball. I said, well, I've been meaning to do a book about basketball, so maybe we can collaborate. So Joshua, I will leave this for you to read, but this is illustrated by EAU Gannett, and it featured a very special kind of basketball.
Can I play writers Joshua Roro and Eleanor Angelides and illustrator Yanni Gannett? One afternoon, a new girl joined my group of friends. She said, I think we should try playing basketball.
አንድ ቀን አንዲት ልጅ እኔና ጓደኞቼን ቀርባ ተቀላቀለች። እሷም ለምን የቅርጫት ኳስ መጫወት አንጀምርም አለችን።
My older soccer playing brother disagreed. Ethiopians don't play basketball, they play soccer.
እግር ኳስ ተጫዋቹ ታላቁ ወንድሜ በሀሳቡ አልተስማማም። ኢትዮጵያውያን የቅርጫት ኳስ አይጫወቱም፣ እግር ኳስ ነው የሚጫወቱት አለ።
The new girl laughed. That's not true, she said.
ልጅቷም ሳቀችና ይህ እውነት አይደለም አለች።
She told us that Ethiopia joined the International Basketball Federation many decades ago. Ethiopia used to have one of the best teams in Africa, she said.
ኢትዮጵያ የዓለም አቀፍ የቅርጫት ኳስ ፌዴሬሽንን የተቀላቀለችው ከብዙ አስርት ዓመታት በፊት እንደሆነ ነገረችን። ኢትዮጵያ በአፍሪካ ምርጥ ቡድን ከነበሯቸው አንዷ ነበረች አለችን።
Can I play? Asked our friend who uses a wheelchair. We said no.
ዊልቸር የሚጠቀመው ጓደኛችን እኔ መጫወት እችላለሁ ብሎ ጠየቀ። አይሆንም ማለት ነው።
But the girl said, anyone can play if they can throw and catch a ball.
ልጅቷ ግን ኳስ መያዝና መወርወር ከቻለ ማንም ሰው መጫወት ይችላል አለችን።
Are you sure? Asked the boy. Yes, she said. My mom told me all about wheelchair basketball teams in South Africa, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe.
ልጁ እርግጠኛ ነሽ ብሎ ጠየቃት። አዎ እናቴ በደቡብ አፍሪካ፣ በናይጄሪያ እና በዚምባብዌ ስላሉት የዊልቸር የቅርጫት ኳስ ቡድኖች ነግራኛለች አለች።
We all wanted to play. The girl promised to bring a basketball tomorrow.
ሁላችንም መጫወት ፈለግን። ልጅቷን በነጋታው የቅርጫት ኳስ ለማምጣት ቃል ገባች።
The next day, we had a great time passing the ball to each other. The girl said, "There is more to this game than throwing the ball."
በማግስቱም ኳሷን እርስ በርሳችን በመቀባበል ጥሩ ጊዜ አሳለፍን። ይህ ጨዋታ ኳሷን ከመወርወር በላይ ሌላ ስልት አለው አለችም።
Do you want to learn how to dribble and shoot the basketball? She asked. Yes, we said.
ኳሱን ማንጠባጠብና ወደ ቅርጫት ማስገባት መማር ትፈልጋላችሁ ብላ ጠየቀችን። አዎ አለን።
The next day, the girl's mom joined us. She showed us how to dribble and shoot.
በሚቀጥለው ቀን የልጅቷ እናት ከኛ ጋር ተቀላቀለች። ኳሷን እንዴት እንደምናንጠባጥብና ወደ ቅርጫት ውስጥ እንደሚወረወር አሳየችን።
I have an idea, she told us. Who would like to try something different? We all raised our hands.
አንድ ሀሳብ አለኝ አለችን። የተለየ ነገር መሞከር የሚፈልግ ማን ነው? ሁላችንም እጃችንን አወጣን።
She drove us to a gym. Basketball teams in Addis Ababa practice here, she said.
ወደ ስፖርት አዳራሽ ወሰደችን። አዲስ አበባ ያሉ የቅርጫት ኳስ ቡድኖች እዚህ ነው ልምምድ የሚያደርጉት አለችን።
The mom talked to the captain of the team that was practicing. We all waited with great hope.
የልጅቷን ልምምድ እያደረገ ያለውን የቡድኑን አምበል አነጋገረችው። ሁላችንም በታላቅ ጉጉት ጠበቅን።
Come on over, she called.
ኑ ብላ ጠራችን።
The team was ready to take a break. They agreed to let us play.
ቡድኑ እረፍት ለመውሰድ እየተዘጋጀ ነበር። እኛም ቦታውን እንድንጠቀም ፈቀዱልን።
We practiced playing basketball.
ቅርጫት ኳስ መጫወት በደንብ ተለማመዱ።
Our friend in the wheelchair made the very last shot.
ዊልቸር የሚጠቀመው ጓደኛችን የመጨረሻውን ቅርጫት አስገባ።
We all cheered. Ethiopians really do play basketball, my brother said.
ሁላችንም ተደሰትን። ኢትዮጵያውያን በእርግጥም የቅርጫት ኳስ ይጫወታሉ አለ ወንድሜ።
Well, thank you. We have other samples of our books up here. Yenny's a chemist. She's also written a book about chemistry that will be part of our bilingual series at one point. And we welcome anyone who this project speaks to their heart. I don't do an ask. I don't want anyone, I'm not asking anybody for anything. If this speaks to you and you say, I'm an artist, or I like to, or I want these books in my library or my school, or I want to give back to my community in Ethiopia, we love working with someone if you can meet a need or you have a project you're interested in doing with us. Otherwise, we just really appreciate you just letting people know that within your network, your community, they're learning to speak Tigrinya. We have Tigrinya books, we're learning Afan Aroma. We have the Somali community, which interestingly, a very, very large number of Somali-speaking Ethiopians live in Ethiopia. And obviously, Somalia live in Somalia
So, and then if there's other languages, one thing we've committed, and there's no cost to that, is if anybody wants to preserve their language, we realized, we started with a literacy project, we ended up with a literacy language and culture preservation project, and now we're realizing we're actually meeting a need globally for books from the continent of Africa that are authentically rooted there. So part of it is we want our books to go everywhere, because anyone who purchases a book anywhere outside of Ethiopia funds us being able to donate and continue to create more books. So with that ends our formal programming, which is probably a relief to a few people in this room. But we're happy to have a conversation. We love new ideas. A lot of these ideas came from somebody saying, you know, I'm from Gambella, how about Anuak? And my answer is, unless I can find a really good reason, why not? Spanish, why not? Kiswahili, my Kenyan friend said, we don't have enough books either, how about Kiswahili? Why not? We have a Nigerian linguist that was sitting in Lagos that said, came online and said, I love your books, Hawaniba. You're like, why not? And so part of it is really figuring out that we can come together to do something that actually should be impossible. Like, this should not be possible. Like, this should have taken millions of dollars and decades, but the missing books will never be missing anymore. They still need to get to all the right places, but I think the other thing we're trying to do is give people hope. This may not be your passion, but just know if committed people come together across countries, across continents, across communities, across languages, and say we want to solve something, we have that capacity as a human community. And you might be surprised that your help comes in a package that doesn't look exactly like what you expected. I will leave you with an anecdote. I was at Taste of Ethiopia in Denver, which, if you haven't been to Denver's Taste of Ethiopia, it's probably the largest in the country. 30,000 people come. Like, you get all the muckety mucks from Colorado show up. And we had a booth, and Layla and I were manning it. And an Ethiopian man came and said, I love your books. But he kept looking like very perplexed, very, very perplexed. And I said, sir, are you okay? Is there, he said, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, I always wanted this. I think it's wonderful. But I thought that it would be people that only look like me, right? So part of it sometimes means like breaking the mold, because if you're from different cultures, you both have different approaches. Part of the reason this works is it's a bit of an American approach that we got to go big, we got to go fast, nobody's going to tell us no, rooted in an ancient culture that says we have equality, we have to do it the right way, and the melding allows you to do something very different. So I want to give you hope. I want you to find your power. I think if every single human being did whatever they're meant to do to fix whatever is broken in your communities, we as a human family, more of us are good than bad. There's more good in the world than bad. But many people don't activate, don't use their power, and you see the people who are using their power are not always using it for good. So that is my call out to you, is this is our thing. Thank you to my daughter, who wouldn't have been my thing except for a little girl who said the world's not fair, let's do something. But everybody has something, and if you do it, we can all create the world that we want to live in, not the world we live in now. So, thank you. I'm just like an idiot. My daughter is a terrible version of a thank you in her. So, I do not have the gift of languages. Thank you, Annie, and thank you, Joshua. Beautiful dreams. You can buy that over here. They have some. I'm going to give you so that you remember Beautiful Dance. This is a bookmark. It also has our information. Everybody should read physical books, even though I worked as a model on my last job. I think everybody should, have the digital is good. You guys, for all the books, I'm sure you're reading at your house. Happy? Oh, it's wonderful. Well, you guys can check out other books, feel free, like we're not very formal. Yes, so we actually have about 10 to 20 in Sidama. We also have 10 Barca. We actually realized, right? Somebody saw our annual
Oh,
and said,
it's
do you
fine.
have Tim Barsa from Australia? And I said, I have 20 Tim Barsa books. Like it was actually, so we have Tim Barsa, we have Sadama, we have Dietzen, which is Maji, very far south. We have Afar AF. Apparently Afar AF has 6 different spellings. It's Afar AF. It's like, so we just let the translators who are from the Education Bureau in the Afar region, we let them tell us. And then they have to defend their choice. Because again, Helen said Anuak instead of Anulak, and they said, someone said it should be Anui. I said, well, talk to our Anuak lead, and he chose, which I thought was interesting. Anuak is a more certain term, even though it's not technically correct for the language, but he wanted more.
Yeah,
So it was a very strategic choice. So, yeah, so that one actually is really fun, and we have distributed books to the Sadama region, the Timbarsa region. Open Heart Region. Yeah, so Jane, yes. She was one of the founders. I actually was a big fundraiser for Ethiopia Reads, and people know that. And the original library we started was with them. But the books are missing, so it doesn't get, no matter how many libraries you plan. So we actually work with Ethiopia Reads now in like World Bank and others. We distributed 600,000 copies in 12 Ethiopian languages in every region of Ethiopia since 2018. And they're now working in Addis Ababa on a literacy program that they're training 5,000 literacy workers. It's kind of like health workers to go out and help families, and they will likely use our books. So we license our books, we distribute ourselves, and the goal is really to basically make sure every child in Ethiopia has a chance to learn to read and gets to learn to read with books that feature their language and their culture. And once that problem is solved, then we're hoping that all that book distribution and such moves into Ethiopia. So we have other things we're working on to try and create a reading and writing culture, because if you don't have the books, you don't know how to write, you don't know how to illustrate, there's no money in it, so we almost have to create the whole economy. So that's why we print in country. We're encouraging people to actually pay for content. It's the same problem globally. If you give it away for free, you never can create a business for anybody who wants to do that. So thank you for asking the question. Any other questions? You can ask it for crazy. The answer is yes. Just a little bit. But there is that saying, only the crazy ones actually change the world. So you gotta be a little crazy. The right kind of crazy.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I think, well, and it's such a joyful project because I feel like everywhere we've gone, anywhere in the world, people think this project is a good idea.
Yes.
No one says, terrible idea, why do you do this? And we find collaborators just build trust. If you guys haven't heard of this guy, this is Eton Comics. He created superheroes and graphic novels featuring Ethiopian characters. He's literally an aerospace engineer in Texas. Like, of course he is, right? And so we followed each other, supporting each other, and I kept saying, do a book with this. That's right. He's like, I'm busy. This is like not even my day job, right? Like I have a day job and I do this. So he created an early reader with us because he's an Amharic speaker. But we now have this book in 14 languages, and we find the French version, the Arabic version, because no African country has their own superhero. Now, this one's based out of Addis, but it can support all kinds of other communities, and it's it's such a trust that we get to use his content. There's no money involved. We just promise we would get it to lots and lots of kids. So we have, and this is, so our number one, which I don't have here, is the Runaway Injera, which I laugh because everybody says culturally appropriate culture, which is really, really wouldn't, truly. But the Runaway Injera is the gingerbread baby. So we put it out to the Ethiopian community, and the Ethiopian community picked Runaway Injera #1. And I'm like, all right, we picked the gingerbread man, but it's okay because we made the girls smart, so we did some improvements. If you pick gingerbread or injera, which would you pick? Right? But I thought that was really fun, that a story can become. And I heard actually there's Somali injera. Did you know there's Somali injera? It's similar, not as fermented and smaller. So I learned that from some Somali speaker. This is French, but this is our second most popular. Anybody know who this is? If you know, don't say. Anybody guess? Saint Yard, who is actually credited with creating musical notes. So anyone in the music world is very familiar with him. But it's a little boy who's bad at school. he didn't give up because he watched a little caterpillar keep climbing up a tree, falling down, and now he's credited with inventing for the Orthodox Church first, but also musical notes for others. But that one, I feel like for the history, I feel like parents always pick this one, and the kids might pick Jember or the Runaway of Jairus, so there's a little something for everyone. They have some of the books here. If we also are on other web. I love if you support, this bookstore. If you want more books here, let them know. I'd much rather it goes through that way. But we're also on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. Like, you gotta play the game, right? Like, and our goal is to get them everywhere. But our other ask, if this speaks to you, schools and libraries should have as many books for kids that look like my daughter as the kids that look like me, and it's not happening. And that's your federal tax dollars. So ask your library and school to have a more diverse book selection. Because one really sad fact is there's a organization called Diverse Book Finder, and it basically looks at all the diverse books available for U.S. kids, and Black, African, Hispanic. For Black African kids, 60% are trauma based. That's not true for a number of the other. There's not enough of them, and then they're focused in that area. So part of it is we want to change that too. Why can't you have a funny story, an uplifting story? We have stories about hair, right? Like it should be, every kid should be able to just lose themselves in books and not necessarily feel like they have to have that story. And it's not every good story either. So I think that for us is another thing we love help with if that speaks to you. Layla Marie has lots of things she'd like to say. Nope. Nope. I am her spokesperson. She gives me lots of assignments. Most of the time it's like, don't give me speaking cards unless you tell me what I need to do. But I think it's also for young people, there's a lot you can do. And you don't need money, and you don't need experience, and you can step into your power much earlier. So we work with young people that have done projects for a specific area, or they want to do a book. So we love collaborating with the youth, because frankly, those of us that are at my age, we got some explaining to do for the world being what it is, and I think we have emerging leaders that hopefully will do better. So, anything we can do to help that. Any questions? Jokes? Yeah. Okay. Oh, perfect. We would love that. Great. Yes, so the books are right at the front if anybody wants to get them. This one we don't, I don't have another copy of it. Well, we're going to work out. I want to find ways to collaborate in whatever ways work, but I think that we've already identified just with different people. And again, do you ever get out of your own journey?
We got something guys already. Yeah. Okay. So my mother, she would get involved in consulting.
No, but I have classes to start up again.
Well, I just talked to Nelson, so they're doing really wonderful things.
That's cool. Yeah, I've been taking a while, but it's not
They do more with libraries and librarian training.
Okay. Yeah, I take lessons in
Okay. And just, I found,
I know I'm
not a not-for-profit.
I know, that's
So
what
I'm like, this is all really slow.
Scott, which finds out Scott do the marketing and stuff like that. When I did a good job, he didn't talk. You're right, because I looked at you, I just told him.
Yeah, so it's like almost no one that works on this and it ever before they begin to. It's nice.
Exactly, yeah.
You may change things, we iterated our first off, I don't know. They were like, no. Okay, back to the drawing boards and you get better, but. So would love to figure out,
Yeah, I'm in between jobs right now. I just finished up with a startup, so I'm like, I have to.
Georgia Avenue line. Howard University.
and we have some local board members.
Don't worry, but we'll leave it up to them.
Good gifts, we realized we don't.
Just try Eleanor presentar.
So awesome.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just got back from like exercise, and I'm like, okay, like she actually cleaned up, you know, I'm really glad I did, because she knows I was working on Ethiopian Beach right before COVID, and I moved to Chicago during COVID.
Collaborating with them.
Yeah.
So, again, it doesn't, like, very synergistic, but what I fundraised for the other years, and I just. Would you look at things?
Yes.
We're not solving the problem. This is.
And I do different languages too, because even like,
Well, that was crazy. But when you realize, like, once you figure it out. So I'm here, you're very careful, you ask me, I'm sure you know, right, you know, it's like, but I'm really trying to figure out where can we be. This is just sort of itself out.
Right.
Because it feels like it's.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
So just think about it. So you have to know why you're doing it.
Yes.
What is the self-interest in yourself, if it doesn't work, something.
Right, exactly, understand.
Because to me, prioritize.
It does, it does.
It shows.
I'll get it to you tomorrow, it's like, yeah, it's not like, so yeah, no, I hear you, but I am like, do you guys do, 'cause right now I spend 50 to 60% of my time in London with work, and I come back here sometimes. Okay, yeah, because I meant to mention with the Ethiopian community, actually, the woman, when you mentioned Morocco, because we've been to Findiga, and the woman there, I know, I'm on here.
Building, okay, so.
But they're rebuilding, yeah, but anyway, there's a woman that, in London who I've met, and she's, because I stay in Brixton all the time, and then she introduced me to the Ethiopian community, so I met her at the Ethiopian restaurant, she was teaching me how to make coffee by scratch, so she's.
We have an animator who's illustrated a couple of books, she's based in London.
Okay.
We have someone who also is like church community outreach, also
Okay.
in London, and then we have a literacy advocate who's a teacher. So I tried to put a tier. Yeah. We created a community that like.
Yes.
I would do for you. Caitlin and I were talking about it in the UK, right? I have good friends in the UK. Because I did different international deals when I was in Germany.
Right, yeah. Yes. Okay, so I'd love to get something going on, and that's wrong, like after Christmas.
Yeah, this is right now.
Okay.
I like Australia, a little bit Germany, because we're not German. And I think it's just because it exists.
Right, exactly. I don't know publishing industry, but I've been in sales for years, so I know how to push, I know how to get to where I need to go. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Church communities, literacy communities, you know.
Okay.
Your
Yes, there
assignment
we
is
go.
help us find.
Exactly. I know.
so I give that to you for whatever. So
I know. And I was like eating with like sweaty clothes. I'm like, oh God.
Well, we don't care. So I'm just glad you came. Can I take a picture of the two of you with the book?
Sure.
Is that allowed? I have that.
Are you? How's it gonna be?
We just use it to look on that color. I mean, what we do. And if you're not comfortable, I will not. You just tell me yes or no.
It works. Let's just get.
Okay. You want Layla in the picture? You can make her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Layla, come on.
Come on, Layla. There we go.
Thank you for asking, because we put in everything we volunteers in this ongoing project. We only use the funds and everything we get for that project, because we also do STEM and other things, but we want to make sure that people know what their contribution goes to. Because we're asking people to do, like, to me, art is kind of a little bit of somebody's soul, right?
Yeah.
Photos, it's the same thing.
Yeah, we can ask those ladies. Could you?
Okay.
Oh, photo, yes.
So you could.
All right.
Yeah, this is me.
This is mine. Well, do you want your?
Oh, that's
not
mine.
This is.
Hold on to this.
Let's
Aw.
hold up the book. 'cause
Oh
I
wait,
think-
thank you. I got it. Hold the book.
Yeah, that's even
At
better.
least better picture aesthetics. I'm always getting yelled at. Mom, do this, do that.
Wonderful.
I need
Her
name
family-
this.
Yeah, I had, for a little while, I
Bunch
decided
and
to,
bunch.
I modeling and Layla and I are talking about,
Wait,
and I feel like the
that's
things I learned was like how to take a good picture. Oh, you're
That's
getting
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't be down there, I feel like a giant.
Make it. Yes.
We're growing
Yeah.
up.
Well, it's okay.
Oh, there's Chinese husband, I love that. So
Okay.
you didn't come over
Hey,
because we
Nancy.
would have made you read off on our
Yes,
own,
you
but
would.
they want.
You
Well,
better
they
make
didn't want to have other speakers, so we're signing you up. You can be the
Me?
White House. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
All right. He has practiced taking pictures of lots of women together.
Wait, why don't we hold some of your?
Yeah, we should hold.
Something.
I want that to listen.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Let me hold
Here,
some.
I'll grab that one. That's actually what I'm
Dennis.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
we
was
gotta have
French,
that.
but you care. Do you want French or do you want English?
That's okay. I think we should have the compliments for it though, because it shows the variety. I love it so much.
Yes, well, we'll tell Bessarab you will appreciate it.
Beautiful.
I like the staggered
That's it.
heights.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Really got feedback before we do.
Oh, that's it?
One more time.
That's he's using his,
Yeah.
mine has his, it gets Louis. Why don't you guys come in?
Oh,
Yeah.
go, go.
We don't know each other, come
Well,
on.
one second. Go ahead.
Okay, go, go.
We can just,
Yeah.
how about that? We can sit.
Yeah.
Can you get us?
She gets down on we promised sushi too, so I can.
Yay. Oh, yeah, guys, come on, Josh.
Yeah,
meet.
boy.
Oh, yeah, you guys have to get out to
It's a
dinner
whole
here.
picture. I love it.
Let's do it.
You can hold
That's
this
a good
back.
idea.
Yes. Come on, Nate.
Come on, Dave. You can come up here with us if you want.
Okay.
You want to come up here?
Come on, we gotta get the young men.
All right.
All right.
Where are you guys? Cheese, one more time.
Cheese.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
We gotta have you.
That's each other.
You guys are really good.
You're not in the sweet. Let me give you my number. 301.
I love that you said that you're printing up people there. Yes. Did I go to the show?
You are at WhatsApp or?
College.
Do you have a contact number for WhatsApp?
301 sharing it and then like take this and then take it.
Yeah, so, this we're a teeny tiny
As a
organization.
yeah, that's people skill. He went to doesn't have my contact. He went and saved it to me in WhatsApp. In my number 301 6 301 633 4 yeah, I think I'm getting
So I don't know if they are even just
Let me give you another one. I know, right? You have a lot of contacts now.
She used to say, anonymous Francis.
She's my sister.
Oh, tough sister.
Yeah.
She's just
Oh, have to take one of the pictures together. I'll tell her what I mean. I'm a student.
I'm taking her apart.
Okay, yeah, she's my sister. Oh.
You would make the funniest faces when
No,
you're
he's gonna say Oh, I might. I found this together they are learning about our diversity, and my sister is also one the first time. Yes. I wish. Oh my God.
I find most couples are like that. You get one that's her dad. Her dad just like actively ruins pictures because he's so
They're beautiful kids. Yeah, we were together this morning.
Yeah. That's crazy. See? Yeah, maybe he's yeah. Thank you. What's happening? I know when I grew up, like, but I'm like,
You born there? Yeah. Oh, that's right. She's boy. Okay, so when you're like, it's a little blurry.
but yeah, so
It's good, thank you. I did some of it well. So I was on the list. She sent it to me. She sent it to me. So I want to be try to send it to her. I didn't even know. I thought you said I thought you said
Nice, intensidad.
Silver Spring. Well, what do you want to study about?
I just
Well, so yeah, I have a baby in Children's Hospital.
okay. Yeah, that's Chicago. I think the big nice
Nice meeting you. Welcome, Gisele. So, don't call it networking, just really it's like networking with some tropes and stuff. It's basically meeting, but start early because that's connect with different generations. Just have different versions and some of and across communities is ultimately the biggest thing that people think like you and have the same heart and have some, often they don't look at all like you and sometimes they do, but so we'd love to help have lots of people in communication space. You might change your mind, so be open to that. Her brother and it's okay. There's actually what you like to do, what you're good at, what's commercial, so that's a Venn diagram, and then what the world needs, the Japanese and what the world needs.
I think I could have got signed up. So.
But if you're not gonna get paid for it, it's not a job, it's a hobby, right? Or I was really good at things that I get paid a lot of money for, but I don't like. Yeah, those you can lose your life. So, yes, right, but you do need to get paid for it, and what the world needs. What is my purpose? So, like, is there something else in that space that also contributes to that? Well, you can't really do all those things. If you do all these things, you have that awareness that you like, you want to talk to them, like, I'm terrible. Like, this is like, it's a mindset I'm for someone else, and then when you're there, I'm like, what can I do in this environment that I do? So, and communication, frankly, being able to share your story is huge. So, good. Well, I am sure you'll be successful because you got two big cheerleaders behind you, right? I'm looking forward to it. I'm feeling like super tall up here.
I love it.
That's it.
It's simple to bring 6'5", 6'4", 6'7". So we went to the event in Austin, Minnesota, where I fell short. She was like, you can plug your ears right. Also one of the shortest.
I'm actually
Can't wait to see
All right, then, you gotta say bye to you, okay? So what's your next plan? You guys should come to the apartment here.
Oh, I see.
Text me progress, we'll see.
Yeah, I went to Wesco and there's the random checkers.
They're good. Right?
Oh yeah, I love I've been watching on and off. I see the front. I know.
So that's why I was like,
That was your house.
Working at a house they okay.
sorry.
Great system.
Brother-in-law.
Nice to meet you. Every time I thanks for taking care of Mom. We're doing our business.
I know. With the glasses? She wanted to meet. She's friends.
Don't matter. They took over my sister. That's why so everybody that's which starts in fall, they always start college. But yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why they got so much.
Yes.
It came from all of us. Okay, thank you so much.
Hear the stories?
Yes, we did. Thank you. That's awesome. Love business.
I do now. Well, I'm not aware of what I'm driving. I have a car right now, but I was told that I have to. I was making difference.
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I can see stuff like in my clothes. Like I can't make them in.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not sure. No, I live in Seattle, but that's also. But we've been all 3 times. I come here not every time I visit.
Yeah.
My family, I live in Seattle, and then my extended family is in like Denver and Grand Rapids, so a little bit far. Yes, Grand Rapids, Michigan. They're not super Christian. I don't think they. My family's not super religious. But it's Tuesday, so we'll be here. Yeah, so it's long enough.
I actually love it. I'm in a green belt.
Situation. Yes.
Yes, I'm so surprised. Oh, thank you very much. That's a great part. So, I'm 16 and I'm just with my mom and trying to plan these as much as I can so I don't miss a lot of stuff. Yes. I have considered Howard, yeah. Actually, this was that was delicate. Howard because how close it is. I'm in there's a lot of Ethiopian Howard. So yeah, I was really thinking about it. Just talking Seattle is a long way away. It is exciting. Yes, it is. Yes, so I was born there, and then we came back 3 years later, and every 2 years it was, and now
Stop
that
changing the words.
I'm trying to talk about and we're doing so the coolest feeling of my cousin was traveling was always it's hard, man. But yeah, so about a week and it's always busy, but it's always
My friend lives, my mom's favorite Stanford University.
Spanish class.
Okay. So we go there all the time. Like we try to go this way. We were at coffee. This, yeah, it's. Wow. It's this is
Yes. Yeah.
So it's almost like interesting research. So it's requiring a lot of research. So how do you find, because it's basketball we're working with lots of different triggers and illustrations. So can you find someone that can do that? Especially yeah. So like if you got little kids are or you're working with non-professionals, I'm like, ooh, exactly. Like,
Right.
like, dog. All right, well, I don't want to keep you this. Texas, figure out what we're doing in Texas and bring it. Like, she ain't best friend with her too, which is awesome. And like, because that's the morning it's not yeah, just fine. Yeah. And then you don't know what it is and it changes. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's that's what this is. Well, honestly, we try and support so I know because I do because like that. They are I would actually artists that you could praise. Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, you basically we go with half of the artists, half the artists, because they want to help us and honestly. Yeah. Because actually,
yes, that was me.
She
Like with the reading? That was me. This is my mom and I's project.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's welcome to. That's me and my mom.
I gave them
2 books with
campus.
because yeah, it's just talk about it.
Ah, you look gorgeous. Hey, mom took a good picture.
They specialize.
We all.
Yes. It's high. Oh, so it's what's
They do. That's part of
And this is our first.
I mean, I gotta but it would have been something different. More than likely, it probably would have been. Probably would have been.
Yes, but also they are in the
Yep, you can't believe it.
shelf back by the
If we
because they're
I mean,
Right, exactly, yeah.
actually like mom also.
but then again, we're gonna plug in.
And it's kind of
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know, Maryland.
we're just
We'll find it.
So think about, again, if you don't know whatever, I should have to
yeah, that's
support and do it in a way that. Yep, please do. And then, yes.
That Friday. Whatever that Friday is. And we'll be back next time.
It's good trouble, right? My sister does negotiation, so I revamped Amazon. My big job, my jobs at the top,
Yeah, we got it.
but I was also doing this. All the parts. It's not actually hard, but it's hard to hear the cities. What is it?
I used to live in Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Great cost of living. I love it. Other than that, if you go back down, I never at first.
So, and basically it tracks to a scarcity of. So then he,
Yeah.
It took a long time.
For value creation, you're like, well, it's infinite. We're about value creation.
You got a bunch of them.
If you always listen to every good negotiator.
Oh,
First service, we used to say in negotiation.
yeah. I was, well, when I retired, I was going on the floor, like everybody else. I'm done.
So, I have lots of them.
Hopefully by the time I get ready to retire, they make it tough.
So that's
I don't think that's. I just wanna.
So we got two hours. This section is on, Minnesota is also central. They have a world languages, all day, like online seminars.
I mean, yeah, all the shit up in here stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm here.
Cold don't help me. I don't feel good.
You know, I got that.
Oh,
When that Mississippi.
oh.
Still got it. And it doesn't hurt all the time. What is it sometimes when you get older, it kind of cramps up. Charlotte.
Yeah.
He's out, by the way. Got out. How long was it?
It's just not that.
You know, they got to the point that they were friends. And she said, the only thing that's strange is that every once in a while, they still use the card when they're doing it. And she was like, yeah. She said,
She can read my writing. She was
living in the I gave her and let me message you because I want to get involved. I'd love to get involved. And it's in the back. I've never seen it. And he got back in his car and went back to Chicago like nothing had happened. I was just so about and the only way they caught is because he said that when he said his cell phone was bouncing off the tower, and he turned his cell phone off, they didn't never call. Or left the cell phone, they didn't never call. That's the only thing that they got.
in my head was one response, but you didn't. Right, and the other one is, and so
Somebody get up, you couldn't do that. You had to know she wasn't just for a byway, because he
it starts in different ways.
yeah. And she's still got a certain stuff.
60-70%.
She tried to put one in there, and her earrings, or all of her earlobes on. It was, she said, I mean, because her body was by getting burned.
So that's what I try to do. Like,
Her body that is taking grabs, different parts of her body. Yeah. No, he doesn't have that. His kids, she had 12 when she met him. And then they had two kids. And they went, when they go visit them, they said, "Well, why go with all
but yeah, so gender empowerment is so
found out
my parents use it, but then they have a lot of money. So you could say we worked really hard to succeed. Like, it was a whole lot. So it happened to me that possible. And then when people help me, and then like something broke my way. And I feel like my responsibility
So,
Because I got help. And especially for emergency leaders, I do have a platform that
that's what she said.
connection or an opportunity or to think about that.
You know, stay home. She woke up in the middle of the night, her van on fire. And this is Charlotte, who's built up. And got out of it. Spray painted. This
And
was
yeah, frankly, I hope my local career got better, a little different than I thought, but, and thank you for having your mom, thank you for coming, like,
It's your mom?
Yeah.
Oh, I just suspected you were together.
So he's out now.
That's my mother.
Staying with his sister.
But this is, I gotta just, do some thinking and see how I could really partake into your guys' collaboration. Because it's definitely flowing, it's rolling out there, and we want it to be universal.
Right, so that's what she's here for.
Yeah, like it's,
yeah, it's part of it's the story.
Right. And books are the ones you connect the world, right?
Yeah.
Brings kindness, compassion,
Awareness, like film about it, yeah, to make film and stories like we found, and I don't have those skills. I'll have to share, we have a couple of videos from our last year, we took a filmmaker with us. Layla and I narrated a few things. But you can see there's a big story. We only have like a little bit of funds, and a little bit of time, and a little bit of talent, but I feel like that finding the way to tell the story so it gets on the bigger audience.
Oh, sure.
Sorry
about that. It's okay.
But you think about it, and like I'm looking forward to hearing what you come up with. And it takes a lot of processing time, so take whatever you want.
thank you so much.
Sorry.
You're welcome to watch out.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you for coming and braving the heartbeats and
So I heard she's we have reading rooms.
well, we're just starting one, so, and we have an artist who volunteers with us in the shop. And we have, a gentleman, his family's from the shop, and they run one of the big resorts there, so we're really it's about any culture, like, some of it's a little money, but it's also just getting to the that says, that's what we're right now, and say how we do that. The approach is, if you do it by yourself, it seems like so much, but like, say things like, when I do some things about it, or it's easier to do something.
Yeah, she makes.
I can't remember right off my head. We normally go for dates for Christmas Day and Vegas, but if you're interested, I can introduce you to the person who started the reading and use it all. Here's what I love this one. It's a very successful shipping fund. Yes, so I want to do a story about that, like the female chicken farmer.
Another body. So, hey,
It was an eye that
Always. Right, so if it was a woman, it would be a man who, you know,
I'm not even hard for it.
but also just.
that was, I'm like, if I find that,
For him,
I
this
see it now, I
project.
say, okay.
And the artists and that,
So, so it ended up
I
being.
found those. Yeah. And they're not always, they are.
Oh, yeah.
The attitude. Inside, beautiful ass.
Oh, it is. Walk over there.
Where they gonna sit?
What do you want to do? Because we don't want to tell them to do this or do this. It's interesting. Tell me what I can do, and then let me pick. Because we want it to be something where you say, okay, this is yes.
Give me the options.
Yeah. She's still 16. Yeah.
Yes. That's what I thought.
found our queen's finger Edward that you could share.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk to Yenny, and then even if you know, like, if you have an elementary school.
Come every day.
How are you?
Yeah, so my siblings are like teachers. So on my note,
Because we print locally and we offer them at cost, so they. Let me see if I can find it. We have one. Do you see?
Good night.
So this is the book she wants. Yes, that's the reaction we want. So, big, beautiful. And obviously we also have some of that. So, are you in the reading material? Oh, perfect. I wrote with this gentleman. So it's just a story about the baby, but it's a message. So this is $4. That's just our cost of creating. And then part about Bruce Spector's and yeah. So fundraised to the school. And then we can have an edits, or we can have it delivered to the shop too. And then if your siblings are teachers, they'll you don't know you take one of these. And then Yenny knows.